Imagine a room with two grand pianos. If you strike the middle C key on one, across the room, the middle C string on the second piano will begin to vibrate. It will hum in the dark. It cannot help it. It is bound by the absolute laws of acoustic resonance. Now, imagine someone throwing a heavy, suffocating velvet drape over that second piano, trying to smother the sound, trying desperately to pretend the vibration is not tearing through its wooden bones. This is not a metaphor. This is the exact physics of your current reality. You are standing at the center of an invisible tether. You wake up with their name in your throat. You feel the distinct, heavy weight of their energy at 3 in the morning. The quantum field hums with their undeniable presence. Yet in the physical realm, you are staring at a locked door. You are exhausted from carrying the weight of two conflicting realities, the absolute spiritual truth of your entanglement and the agonizing dense friction of their physical absence. You are tired of being the holder of space for an empty chair. The anxious heart looks at this frozen pendulum and asks, how does one walk away from a mirror that reflects their own soul? Today, we are dismantling the architecture of this paradox. No fairy tales, no false comforts. We are dissecting the biology, the shadow, and the physics of why the unawakened counterpart hides from the very force meant to elevate them. Let us examine the three mechanisms driving their retreat and how you can finally put down the crushing burden of waiting. Let us look closely at the biological and spiritual architecture of retreat. As the anxious heart, you perceive emotional intimacy as the ultimate safety. When you feel a deep, resonant connection, your nervous system relaxes. Your breathing slows. You feel as though you have finally arrived home after a very long journey. But you must understand that the unawakened counterpart operates on an entirely different biological and spiritual frequency. For the avoidant soul, this level of sudden, profound intimacy does not feel like a sanctuary. It feels like an absolute threat. It feels like annihilation. When they met you, they did not just meet a romantic partner. They met a force of nature. Your presence bypassed their carefully constructed ego. It shattered the thick, protective masks they wear to survive in the matrix of everyday life. To their nervous system, this profound vulnerability triggers a primal ancient alarm. Their sudden silence is not a lack of love. Their silence is a desperate survival mechanism. They are hiding because the sheer voltage of your shared energy is overloading their capacity to process reality. Imagine plugging a simple bedside lamp into a high voltage power line. The circuitry cannot hold the current. It blows the fuse to protect the house from burning down. This is exactly what is happening within their physical body. They shut down the connection to protect their fragile internal wiring from a frequency they have not yet learned how to hold. They are not punishing you. They are simply trying to regulate a nervous system that is screaming in panic. They are trying to survive the sheer magnitude of what you woke up inside of them. This brings us to the deeper psychological layer. You are a mirror, and you are a relentless, unyielding one. Because of the quantum entanglement between the two of you, you do not just reflect their light, you reflect their unhealed wounds. You reflect their shame, their deeply buried feelings of unworthiness, and the childhood trauma they have spent a lifetime avoiding. This is what Carl Jung called the shadow. The shadow contains everything we refuse to acknowledge about ourselves. When the unawakened counterpart looks at you, they see the highest, most divine version of themselves. They see their own dormant potential, but simultaneously, the blinding glare of your light illuminates all the dark, dusty corners of their psyche. They cannot hide their flaws from you. More importantly, they can no longer hide their flaws from themselves. They are not running from you. They are running from the terrifying reflection of their own shadow. To speak to you is to acknowledge the uncomfortable truth of who they are beneath the armor. To speak to you means they can no longer pretend to be asleep in a waking world. It demands immediate, radical evolution. And evolution is excruciatingly painful. The ego prefers the known misery of stagnation over the unknown terror of transformation. The unawakened counterpart chooses the familiar comfort of the velvet drape over the agonizing work of spiritual alchemy. They retreat to the dark because the light demands entirely too much of them. It demands their ultimate surrender. Finally, we must look at the unseen laws of the universe. The dynamic between the holder of space and the avoidant soul is governed by energetic gravity. Right now, your energy is leaning heavily forward, even if you are absolutely silent in the physical world, even if you're not texting them, even if you are not calling them or checking their digital footprint. In the quantum field, your energetic body is reaching out across the void. It is projecting a loud, continuous frequency of need. It broadcasts a vibration of waiting, of yearning, of quiet desperation. The unawakened counterpart feels this invisible current. They feel your energetic tentacles grasping at their subtle body. In physics, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. The more you project your heavy energy into their field, the more immense pressure they feel. This unseen pressure triggers their deep-seated avoidance. They retreat further to regain their sense of sovereignty and autonomy. They need space to breathe, and your anxious energy is consuming all the oxygen in the room. As long as you are energetically positioned as the one waiting, they will subconsciously remain positioned as the one hiding. It is a flawless, mechanical loop of push and pull. You cannot cheat the laws of energetic physics. The universe responds entirely to vibration, not intention. As long as your vibration hums with the painful frequency of their absence, they will continue to physically manifest that exact absence in your reality. They are simply fulfilling the role your energy has assigned to them. To break this loop, you must understand that your pursuit is the very thing engineering their escape. Here is where we must fundamentally change the lens through which you view this entire journey. You have been looking at their silence as a punishment. You have been viewing their prolonged absence as a direct reflection of your own worth. The ego whispers a very specific, very cruel lie. It tells you that if you were simply enough, they would stay. It tells you that your love was somehow insufficient to anchor them in your reality. This is the ultimate illusion. This is the trick of the wounded ego trying to make sense of a spiritual phenomenon using earthly logic. You must drop this narrative immediately. Their silence is not a punishment. It is a profound, meticulously designed initiation. You are a highly sophisticated, spiritually mature being. You have navigated complex emotional landscapes before, yet you have allowed this specific connection to become a hook. This hook has pulled you entirely out of your own center. You have taken your vital life force and handed it over to an external source. The universe has not placed this profound, earth-shattering connection in your life so you could spend your best years staring at a locked door. The universe does not deal in pointless cruelty. The universe brought this catastrophic collision of souls to expose the exact places where you are still abandoning yourself. This pain you carry is heavy. It is an exhausting, bone-deep ache that wakes you up in the middle of the night. But this pain is absolutely necessary. It is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It is the sign that the spiritual surgery is working. This agony is a sacred fire. It is actively burning away the last stubborn remnants of your codependency. It is destroying the deeply ingrained belief that your completion exists outside of your own physical body. You cannot enter your highest timeline while still believing you need another human being to make you whole. The fire must consume this illusion. When you look closely at the dynamic, you will realize a shocking truth. The avoidant soul is actually playing their role perfectly. They are executing their spiritual contract with flawless precision. By denying you their physical presence, they are forcing you to finally find your own. They are starving your codependency so that your sovereignty can finally breathe. If they had stayed in the beginning, the outcome would have been detrimental to your soul. If they had given you the beautiful fairy tale immediately, you would have made them your God. You would have worshipped the connection instead of realizing your own inherent divinity. You would have placed them on a pedestal and forgotten to build your own throne. Their retreat is the exact catalyst required for your ultimate expansion. They had to leave the room so you could finally see yourself in the mirror. When they remove their energy from your field, they create a massive, echoing void. Your human instinct is to panic at the sight of this void. Your instinct is to scramble to fill it with their memory, with longing, or with a desperate pursuit. But this void is not a barren wasteland. It is highly fertile soil. It is the empty space required for you to construct an empire of the soul. You must understand that you are not a helpless victim of their silence. You are the master of your own awakening. The unawakened counterpart is simply a mirror reflecting your own need to be saved. Once you realize that no one is coming to save you, you become dangerous in the best possible way. You become entirely self-sustaining. You stop looking at their absence as a tragedy. You begin to view their absence as the greatest spiritual gift you have ever received. It was the exact mechanism required to break your reliance on external validation. This is the paradigm shift. You must move your consciousness from a state of lack to a state of absolute wholeness. The goal of this journey was never to acquire them. The goal was to use the friction of their existence to forge your own unshakable identity. They were the key that unlocked your dormant power, but they are not the power itself. You are the power. When you finally integrate this truth, the heavy burden of waiting evaporates. You no longer need them to wake up because their slumber no longer dictates your reality. You stand completely sovereign, anchored in your own gravity, radically transformed by the illusion of their absence. Understanding this dynamic intellectually is only the first step. You can analyze their psychology until you are utterly exhausted. You can dissect the quantum field and the shadow self for years, but knowing why the avoidant soul runs will not change your daily reality. To change the dynamic, you must fundamentally change your internal frequency. The universe does not respond to your desperate desires. It responds to your baseline frequency. If your frequency is rooted in lack, you will only manifest more lack. You must shift your center of gravity. You are not making these internal moves to manipulate them into returning. You are doing this to get yourself back. You are doing this to reclaim the vast amount of energy you have leaked into the void. The first profound shift is the absolute retraction of your energetic tentacles. Right now, your life force is continuously bleeding out. You are projecting your vital energy across time and space. You are constantly checking the energetic weather between you and them. You must call this energy back into your own physical vessel. Close your eyes and visualize the energy you have been projecting. See it as glowing threads extending from your chest into the unknown. Now, gently but firmly, pull those microscopic threads back. Reel them into your own center. Breathe your energy back into your own lungs. Feel the warmth of your own presence returning to your bones. It takes immense discipline to stop reaching out energetically. It is a daily practice of conscious containment. Let the unawakened counterpart feel the sudden, absolute absence of your pursuit. When you remove this energetic pressure, you create a massive vacuum in the quantum field. The universe always moves to fill a vacuum, but that is no longer your concern. Your only job is to remain energetically seated within yourself. You must become a closed circuit of power. Do not let your energy bleed into a space that is not actively holding you. Keep your life force strictly contained. The second shift requires profound emotional courage. You must alchemize the deeply rooted abandonment wound. When the panic sets in, your immediate instinct is to flee. When the silence feels entirely too heavy to bear, your mind desperately seeks a distraction. You want to reach for your phone. You want to numb the agonizing ache. Instead, you must sit inside the fire of it. You must let it burn through you. Ask yourself a very analytical question. Ask your physical body how old this pain actually is. Breathe slowly and deeply to signal safety to your brain. The nervous system cannot distinguish between a physical threat and emotional abandonment. If you sit with this feeling long enough, you will realize a profound truth. This agony is much older than the unawakened counterpart. They are not the original source of your trauma. They merely triggered an ancient, dormant wound of abandonment. They bumped into a severe emotional bruise you have carried since childhood. Speak directly to that specific wound. Validate the terrified child existing within you. Tell your inner self that you are here. Tell them that you are not leaving. Assure your nervous system that you are entirely safe. You heal the connection by healing the core fracture within yourself. You stop demanding that the avoidant soul soothe a wound they did not create. You become your own impenetrable emotional sanctuary. You become the reliable parent your inner child has been waiting for. This is the true, difficult alchemy of the spirit. You turn the heavy lead of your deepest trauma into the pure gold of absolute self-reliance. The third and final shift is the elevation of your physical existence. You must transition from merely waiting to actually living. Waiting is a permanent state of purgatory. Waiting implies that your life is paused until they finally decide to return. It is a subtle, insidious form of self-abandonment. Your life is an intricate masterpiece waiting for your full attention. When you live in a state of waiting, you are actively starving your own potential. You are entirely too intelligent, too vibrant, and too valuable to live in a waiting room. You must transition into absolute, unapologetic sovereignty. You must build a daily life so beautiful and so rich in purpose that their return would simply be an addition to your joy. It can never again be the primary source of it. Shift your focus entirely toward building your own empire. Pour your immense passion into your art, your career, and your physical healing. Let them take all the time they need. Let them wrestle with their heavy, complicated shadows in the dark. Their timeline is simply none of your business. Your business is your own radical, unstoppable expansion. When you build a reality that deeply fulfills you, the desperate need for their physical presence naturally dissolves. You stop staring at the empty chair at your table. You start immensely enjoying the magnificent feast you have prepared for yourself. This is the ultimate act of reclaiming your spiritual power. You simply outgrow the desperate need for their validation. You step fully and permanently into the brilliant light of your own creation. You are the holder of space, but the space you are meant to hold is no longer for them. It is for you. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the need to force their awakening. You cannot drag someone into the fifth dimension if they are committed to learning the lessons of the third. True love, the highest frequency of unconditional love, is allowing someone the dignity of their own path, even if that path leads them away from you for a time. You are whole, you are solvent, you are entirely complete without them. When you finally surrender the need to control this narrative, you will find the peace you have been desperately seeking, and ironically, it is only in that state of total surrender that the tangled threads of this connection can begin to weave themselves back together. Breathe. You are exactly where you need to be. Until next time, walk in peace.